Hey everyone, it's Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, and I'm here to do my May layout shares. I got a lot done because it was National Scrapbooking Day that happens in May, which I always tend to get a lot done because of that, which is super helpful. And some of them are for my series that I do with Caddy, and the other series I do with Rachel. And then the other ones are a new thing I'm doing on my channel. I'm trying to use up my stash, and I'm trying to be inspired by different things. So this first layout is for that. It's the second episode in this series on my YouTube channel. And what I decided to do is I had this piece of pattern paper from Amy Tangerine, and I've always kind of held off on using it, but I loved the branding strip with this black and white kind of floral paper. So that was my starting off point. And normally I start with a photo, but I just started off with this instead. I kind of just then went in and found another piece of pattern paper that I thought would coordinate with it. Found my photo. This is of my little guy, and what it's talking about is how last summer, because he didn't want to go to bed, it was hard to settle down when the sun's up, and I have that issue too, so I completely understand, but he just didn't want to settle down. So Sean would take him outside so they could listen to the birds and the cars drive by, and it always helped him like just calm down enough to be able to go to bed. So super simple story, but I just wanted to be able to remember it and document it. And I thought because Sean's shirt was black, it paired well with this. And then just added more layers, and like I had this really bright frame that I have a hard time using this bright yellowy color. I like it, but I have a hard time using it. So I was able to tuck it in and use it there. And then I took the vellum clouds from Chamel's, I believe it was her first line, and I just cut a few of them out and layered them there with a bunch of little other accents. I used the 15, which is the same thicker from this, so that I could document the year, and then the asterisk is also from that one, so I was able to tie that in. And then just added a few little pieces here that I've had. Used JJ. These were actually 2 U's that I just cut to do that. A little button brad that I have a hard time using these too. I absolutely love them, but I have a hard time using them, so I was excited to get that used up. And then I just did a little bit here doing Just Right and Daydreams. And even though this is pink, I'm playing it off as red. And I like that. And then right here I just used, it says September. I think I have 1 more month left of these. I love these little, they're clear, but you can see it in person, but probably on camera it's not reading too well. And then another little piece of washi tape from the pink paisley fall line that I can never ever think of. And it just says Dream Big. So I like that a lot. And then I used a little overlay that I've also kind of been hoarding and waiting to use. So I love it. It was really exciting, and I'm loving this series. It's definitely helping me use a few things that I've kind of had in my stash and haven't been able to use. Another one is this is also an overlay of houses that I'm not sure how else I would have used it, but it worked well for this. Then this layout is for my challenge for National Scrapbooking Day. I was a part of the Victoria Marie Facebook group. I have a separate layout share about what the challenges are, so more I'm going to talk about my actual layout here. I wanted to document my little guy learning to brush his teeth. He's learning to basically put it in his mouth and suck the water off of the brush, and then afterwards he lets me go in and actually brush his teeth. So it's really fun, but I love that he's wanting to learn and to do these little things. So I really wanted to document that. And so I took my challenge on and was able to just incorporate all the things. I had done a recipe challenge and just picked the pieces I wanted. I at first had made it very simple, and like this little cluster right here and this banner wasn't there, and it was a little too simplistic and it didn't work for me. So I added a little bit more, and I'm much happier with the way it turned out. I was able to use these cork up, which make me happy. And I was also able to use a couple brads, which again have been in my stash and I haven't touched in quite a while. So that was great. And then the other little piece is this little floral, it's blue and white, a white flower. I had just a little tiny chunk, and it's a part of a frame. and I like to cut them up and everything. And so I had just this little tiny bit, and so I slid it right there, and I thought that it worked really well. And I also used another one of my little Tweety birds that I have. I got a huge collection of them, and I'm just slowly working my way through that, and got to use up AJ that just happened to be floating around my desk. So I'm glad to get that done too. And then this is, I love it because of all the bright pops of very shiny gold. I absolutely love the way this turned out. It was for the Hop for Victoria Marie Facebook group and the Crafty Maven Getaway, and we documented something to do with scrapbooking or why we scrapbook or anything like that. I took it as I really wanted to document that lately, as much as I love telling my story and the photos are my main focus normally when it comes to scrapbooking, I have really enjoyed lately scrapbooking because the product is so pretty, and I like to use that. So it was kind of fun, a little bit different for me, and I don't think this is always going to be how it is. I'm not normally product driven. I am normally photo driven, and so it's a little swap. And even though I like to tell my story more so than use the product, it's so pretty you just want to use it. So just kind of talking about that. And again, I got to use up a lot of little things that have just kind of been hanging out. So for example, these scissors from the Amy Tan Stitch collection, I got that used up. I was also able to use this little brad that says Tickled Pink. I'm not really sure how else I would have used that, so I was excited to use that. I've had a hard time trying to use this bright shiny gold banner, so that was exciting to use. Again, another Tweety bird. I got to use up a Project Life card for my journaling, and then just a bunch of other little random pieces. So I love it. Again, with these stickers, I love them, but they're so shiny and gold, I kind of have a hard time using them. So it was exciting to do that. And then a lot of it is little pieces from like Maggie Holmes collections that I've just kind of been hoarding because they're so pretty. I finally got them on a layout. And then the rest of it is from Carpe Diem. Not the Carpe Diem, the C'est La Vie collection from Pink Paisley. What I love about it most is that I took two little strips from the clear acetate piece. It came in at 12 by 12, and you could cut them up to use as like Project Life cards. And I just cut the very ends of each side, so I got a little bit of each color, and I love the way that turned out. So that was really neat, and I love that. And of course I did some stitching to tie in and make it kind of box itself in there. This layout, I like it. It's a little bit busy, and even though it's on white, but I still really like the way it turned out. And again, I got some random little bits used up here. So like this wood veneer, this little squirrel, this bracket here, and then these little arrows as well. I'm really excited about the way I was able to use a bunch of little things up. It's talking about my little guy when we went to the pumpkin patch. We got to explore the farm there too, like that's part of it. There's a petting zoo and stuff. And he was so excited to like look at all the little things around him, and like he found something on the ground that he just thought was really neat. And so I just wanted to document how I hope he's always like this, and he always wants to just explore his world around him. So that's what it's about. And then I just happened to have these photos to use. And the challenge was to use multiple photos, so that was awesome. I was able to use the rest, a little bit more of that C'est La Vie, that acetate Project Life style stuff, so that's what's behind it. And then just did a bunch of other layering and a little bit here. So I'm really close to these little puffy stickers. I'm very close. I think I have one left, so I almost got that used up. And then this one, I absolutely love the way it turned out. And I just wanted to document how much I appreciate that Sean just lets me take selfies with him. Like, I don't do it very often, but when I ask him to take a photo with me, he just leans in and does it and never complains. And I am the type where I like to take multiple shots, so I make sure I get the right one, and he just lets me do it. And I just really appreciate that about him. So I just kind of wanted to document that. I used my little, right here, I have the Recollections Color Splash spray ink, and I'm not exactly sure what color this is, but it's beautiful, and that's what it turns out. And I'm obsessed with this color right now, so I just unscrewed it and then took it and made a border with it, and I love the way that turned out. and then just happened to grab little pieces. I had these two pieces of pattern paper side by side. I'm like, this looks beautiful, I've got to use it on something. And then just kind of built on top of it, used up a bunch of little frames, some more like brads and buttons that was again in my stash. This heart I've kind of had lying around, that finally got used up. This tag is fairly new, but that was fun to use. And then a wood veneer, it had broken, but I was still able to manage to tape it on there. Another couple little few pieces. And then this Love You was from a sticker sheet that I've had forever, and I finally have killed that sticker sheet, so that made me really happy. And then of course I just dated it with the year. And this one again was for a challenge from the Victoria Marie Facebook group, and we were supposed to document something about ourselves. I just happened to go along with the questions that were asked in the little post. So it just kind of lists off a few things about me, like how my nickname, like my mom and that type of family call me Chris instead of Christy, that I have blue eyes, brown hair, that I hate cooking. I'm not a big fan of cooking. My favorite colors are teal and black. I said my favorite place is being home with my guys. My favorite celebrity is Kate Winslet. My favorite songs right now are Tennessee Whiskey and Die a Happy Man. Those are country songs, just in case you're wondering. My favorite animal is the red panda, and my favorite book that I've ever read is The Happiness Project. So I just thought that was fun. I just used up a Project Life card, found a random photo I had in my stash that I didn't really need to tell a story about, and then just did a little bit of mixed media and used up some old letter stickers here. I used up these banner pieces and then a couple florals that again are a little too girly, and I probably wouldn't have used them in any other way, so that was exciting. This piece of pattern paper is actually from a 6x6 pad. And then this banner was originally a Project Life card that I just happened to cut out, and then I used up a letter C and a tiny bit of a frame. So I'm excited about that. I was also able to back it with this really bright pattern paper that I've been hoarding it because I wanted to use it. Like, I've been keeping it and I wasn't exactly sure how to use it, but once I kind of put this on it and I laid it on top of it, I'm like, oh, that's gonna look really neat, and I think it helps tie everything in. So I'm really happy with the way that one turned out. And this one is documenting a couple photos that I was given when Jackson switched daycares. The lady that at his old daycare gave me a stack of photos that she had taken while he was there. And these two were just really cute. They had like a dress up day where they got to be like firefighters or policemen or doctors and all that fun stuff. And so I just picked the two that I liked the most. And I just kind of went a little sentimental with my journaling, saying, you know, Sean and I will always support Jackson in the decisions he wants to do growing up and what he wants to do and going to college or whatever. And so I just kind of went a little sentimental on that, and how even though he's so young, I can already see him doing big things in his life. And then did a little bit of cluster here. I kind of love this waterfall of triangle like corners. So this is from a Pink Paisley line, I believe, like last summer's Citrus Bliss line. And then that's just a little tiny chunk of scrap that I had. And then I used a lot of the Dear Lizzie documentary, a little bit more of a frame there. This happened to be something I just came upon, so that was awesome to use a globe because I have really hard time using globes. A little doily. I finally used this awesome little wood veneer button that I love, and it fit perfectly with it. Again, used up some sparkly thickers there. I put an Amy Tan sticker over this photo. It kind of looks like it's blended into the wall, which is neat. So it doesn't look funny. So I really like that. And then of course just did some stitching around it to kind of again anchor the layout into one. And this was for the sketch that Victoria had posted for National Scrapbooking Day. Then this one I just posted on my channel, I believe it'll be right in the middle of the month basically. And what I had done is I was working on creating a layout for something else, and I had made this awesome mixed media background that I absolutely love the way it turned out, but the photos I had picked just weren't working. And it was actually for the layout you had just seen. and it just wasn't really working. So I put it aside and then was like, I'll just use it when I get the chance. And then I happened to flip over to the Hip Kit Club Facebook group, and they had tons of challenges, and it wasn't that. It was Mercy Tiara, so her 27-day challenge Facebook group form. I believe there were 8 challenges, and this was challenge number 2, and it was to use your own, like make your own background. And I was like, well, perfect, I've already done it. So I did that. I just kind of found this photo, and it's Jackson playing with a dog during New Year's Eve, not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, and he just loved it. His Christmas Eve was made because he got to play with this puppy all night. And so I just really kind of wanted to document that. So I did my journaling down the side, very Maggie Home-esque is kind of where that comes from. I did a tiny little cluster here with the fact that it was Christmas Eve. I got to use up a button and a little snowflake. I did mix media on a black and white striped chipboard alpha, so I really love the way that turned out because it blends in with the mixed media there. I used a little bit of Pink Fresh Studio embellishment. This had been in my stash for a long time. A couple doilies and a tag, and then just did a lot of layering here, which I love all these layers. I think it's really neat. And I did add a little overlay over the photo with snowflakes just because there's so much stuff and I wanted it to focus in on him, and I think that really helps do it. And just did my title and backed it with a piece of this is actually from a Valentine's line from the Kiss Kiss collection, I believe, or it was from the Crepe Paper's summer line. It's from Crepe Paper though, but I really love the way that turned out. I love that a lot. And the back of it, it is definitely the Kiss Kiss collection because that's all about love and stuff. So I really love the way it turned out. I think it's really cute. This one is for my, we only did one episode, Rachel and I, for our Get Sketchy this month just because everything was so crazy. So we happened to do an awesome like pie chart sketch, and it didn't end up being a pie chart. I did do it, you can see it underneath it, but I ended up covering it with a doily and I love it. And again with the bottle cap, I just made some circles, which I think is really neat. A tiny bit of splatter of gold and that corally color. And then I just kind of picked some random things, did a little bit of layering, used up this floral chip piece from the Makey Holmes collection. I cut out these little doilies from just a little tiny cut apart that I had. I used a little bit of washi tape, some Amy Tan letter sticker alphas, and just little bits and pieces here and there. And then I have hidden journaling talking about how this was like the very last photo of me taken at home before I had moved out. I bought myself started renting a little apartment to live on my own. I had done the roommate thing and I just was done with it, so I wanted to do something on my own. And then that following year, within that year of living on my own, I met Sean. So it's just kind of talking about how like was my last like non-independent photo, I guess. So it was just kind of fun. I just wanted to document it and put it in my Book of Me album. So I like it. I love the colors. I use this beautiful piece of pattern paper instead of white. You see I've done a lot of white, so I was excited to actually use a pattern paper for my background. Really, really neat. And then this one I made, I didn't film it or anything. I was just trying to document some photos. I'm trying to work on my 2008 road trip that I took with my sister. I have like maybe 10 layouts left to do, so I'm just slowly trying to get them done, but actually get them done. And so I just wanted to document these photos of us. We were on a boat ride to go underneath the bridge. So just did that. I finally got to use this little piece of Journey Collection ephemera. I was like, no idea how I was ever going to use that, so I was excited to get that used up. A little piece of chipboard here, and I used that sailboat that I had on a Project Life card, so that was exciting to cut that out. Used another brad here, and then I just did my journaling. I had 2 pieces of this, and they were little tiny cut apart cards, and I just cut them out and did my journaling like that, and then just kind of outlined my photos, backed them with a few pieces of pattern paper, and the rest of it was scraps. So this layout was basically completely done with scraps. I don't think a single piece is new at all. All of this is scraps. So that's always exciting too, when you can use up your scraps to document photos, especially when this was from 2008. It's kind of nice to use a little bit of older product just to kind of help tie in with the feel of it, and the quality of photos wasn't as great back then. So that's what I have for now. I have a few more coming up, but I need to take a little break, so I'll be right back. And the last 3 layouts that I finished for the month of May, this is the one for the new season up for Obsessed with Caddy and Christy. We are working with Paige Evans Fancy Free. Sorry, that just kind of escaped my mind for a moment. I had a really hard time with this layout, but in the end, I'm happy with it. Within the context of the album it's going in, it's going to fit really well. This is a Disney, talking about a play I saw when I was at Disney World, so Disneyland. So it fits very well with that scheme of it. It's a little more vibrant than something I normally do, but I'm pretty pleased with it. I did get a lot of her collection used, and then I used a few. I challenged myself to use some bits and pieces from this little jar. I was doing a sensory bin for my son, because when you can feel all the different textures of the like the brads and stuff and the buttons, and he really loved it. So he was playing with it one day, and I just put them in a bowl, and so I was looking at it and was like, oh, I should probably use some of it up. So I was able to use this button here, a button here, and then a few sequins as well that just normally wouldn't have made it onto the layout. I was also able to use up these little paper clips too. So I'm happy with it. It definitely works, and I'm pretty pleased. I then went on to this layout, and I just was kind of playing. I happened to have some scraps left over from something else that I was working on, and I just added a little bit here and a little bit there, and just kind of piled on top of things that I just really like it. I then found these awesome thickers that I had and used those to actually write the word winter on my photo. The doily is actually teal, but I reversed it, and so I used, it's white, but there's a tiny bit of teal outlined on it. Punched out a few little hearts, so I used a punch. That made me excited. I haven't used a punch in a really long time. Again, a few little bits and pieces from that bowl. And then I have hidden journaling, because I wasn't sure where to journal on this layout. And it's just talking about the day and how it was so fun to just drive in the snow and see all the prettiness. And I just kind of wanted to just document that I really like this photo. And I love this little pop of color right there. I originally had it just on the white, and I wasn't loving it. I felt like it needed a little something. So I backed it on the yellow to help bring out this yellow here, and then used this plus sign teal paper to just kind of ground it. And I love it. And within my album, it's going to be a left side layout because of the way that the border is facing. So this will be on the left side, and there will be something else there when the time happens. And I did date stamp it, and it is a layout for actually this year. So I've now got, I think, 4 or 5 layouts done for 2016. Getting there, right? So there's that. And then finally is this layout that I am sharing with you, but that you won't see the process video until the middle of June. I was working on doing my Get Sketchy layout for June. I'm trying to get myself ahead of schedule. And I originally was going to use this photo and these pattern papers to do the lift part of the Get Sketchy series that we do. And it wasn't really working, and it kind of turned into something else. And this is what it turned into, and I was really excited with it. But because it's not going to be, like, I can share it now because it's not for anything, I'm just not going to share the process until after, so you can kind of see where it was coming from and what the original layout was going to be. So look for this to be probably the 3rd or 2nd week in June, and I'll post the process video for this. But there's this layout as well. It is my little guy, just what happens, his routine after bath. And I just love this photo. It's just so cute. I was finally able to use one of these overlays that I've had for quite a while. And this one I really like. It's the one from Chamel. I also used this little bit here that was from just the days of the week. I should probably circle the fact that it was a Wednesday, but I'm afraid because it's in the middle it might be a little distracting. And then I also used some old thickers. These are just about used up, which makes me really happy. This is from the Kiss Kiss collection from a couple Valentine's Day before. I used up this frame. It's been an old frame in my stash, so again, excited about that. I used 4 pieces of washi tape. Can you believe that? I have the hardest time with washi tape and I got 4 pieces used up, so I was excited about that. And then I did do a little bit of stitching, and this pattern collection paper is Pink Paisley Citrus Twist collection, and I haven't used a lot of it, but I really like the way it turned out. And I used the green, which I have a hard time using, but with this photo and Jackson having a green towel, it was a great opportunity to get it used, and I really am loving the way it turned out. I did have to trim it, and you'll see that in the video, but I had originally had my journaling here and it looked really funny, so I just kind of cut it in half, and then because this was already on another layout, like on this piece of white, so I just kind of cut around it and made it work. And I think when you're flipping through the layout, you're not going to really notice that it's 2 pieces of white paper on top of each other. But there you go. Those are all of my layouts for May. Thank you for watching. I know this has been a bit of a long video, so I appreciate you sticking with me, and I'm excited to see what June has to offer. Bye everyone!